Hi, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we are going to be answering what major changes are coming next. If they're positive, get pumped, get excited. This is something wonderful to look forward towards, especially if you've been kind of in a rut or need a nice, something to look forward to or something different to shake up your daily routine. But if it's not positive, we're going to look into how can we prevent it? How can we make it work to your benefit? Because change can be difficult for most of us. I speak for myself as well. However, change means growth. Change means evolution. And change means that the universe believes that you are capable of going to the next level. So let's see how we can make it as comfortable as possible. As you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. Why don't you take a moment to choose from one of the 4 groups? I'll give you a moment. Now that you have, if you go down to the description, there is a timestamp marked with each group, and you can go to your designated group. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what major changes are coming next. Let's look at your cards. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse, 8 of Swords upright, 9 of Swords upright, 5 of Wands in reverse, and your last card is the Hermit in reverse. Okay, I can already hear Spirit right now. This is interesting. So there's going to be some sort of evaluation. This is very much work-based. And some sort of evaluation, big meaning, it's a big deal to you. It means a lot to what you're doing in your career kind of thing. But the interesting thing is what we're actually tapping into, and what's more important is the conversation you're going to be having with someone prior to the meeting. This feels like a close friend coworker. Again, the conversation is about this meeting, this impending thing. And it looks like it's causing you quite a lot of stress because it means so much to you. Now, we're going to be getting into more of this in a second, but with the Hermit card and the way it's positioned, it can be interpreted in 2 different ways. And I just want to make absolutely sure of one last thing here in the 5 of Wands in reverse. So let me just pull some more cards. Let's see if one will do it. 7 of Swords in reverse. No, I still don't know what's going on. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Let me pull one more. Page of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, sorry that took me a moment to understand. Let's look at this. So I can tell that by these cards over here, you have been experiencing this sort of stress for some time. So this is not something that is going to be a surprise for you to hear. But in the King of Pentacles over here, I can tell you've been stressed about money for a while and the lack thereof. Now, the King of Pentacles is a couple things. One, it shows us that, you have physical proof. It's not completely in your head. You see that you're struggling with money. But it also, for some of you, again, this is a general reading, it talks about the idea of you supporting other people. This might be just one partner, this might be a family. People are depending on you, which makes the strain of having to earn money that much more stress-filled. And it's a very conscious thing that you're thinking about. But the King of Pentacles in reverse also talks about the idea where somebody is defining their self-worth based on how much money they have. Now, a lot of times when I get this type of card, it's kind of an unfortunate ego type thing where people think they'll be happier if they make more money. They think they will be viewed in a cooler way by their peers based on how nice their clothes are, whatever. But in some cases like this, that ego is replaced by the idea of, I will feel more relaxed. I will feel more accomplished and confident as a person if I feel like I can provide for these other people, if I can step up to the plate and receive back kind of proof from all my hard work. We'll talk about that actually here in the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So that's where all of this is stemming. This is where your mind is at, and it's causing you a lot of grief, which causes the tension. So when we have this build up to this meeting or evaluation, you're aware of what is kind of at stake, and it's, it's freaking you out. But we do have a lot of positive, happy omens about it. So I do want to note here, I constantly see interactions when the cards are talking about the idea of security. So again, we talk about security. Do you feel like you have everything you need? Do you feel like you have a place you can trust and depend on to call home? Do you feel like you feel secure in your job position? Again, we talk about evaluation and stuff like that. But over here in the Nine of Swords, this is anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, just stressed, everything we talked about, and it's a very consuming feeling. It's like you can't, it's almost like you're so pulled inwardly, you're not aware of how much you're pulling away from your peers. You're mentally pulling away from other things because this is consuming with you within yourself so much. But over here in the Eight of Swords, this is what I consider a positive omen. Many people consider this a bad card. I actually really love this card. I think this card is incredibly empowering, whether it's upright or in reverse. This talks about the idea of self-imposed limitations. This is when we think somebody else is affecting us and hurts us, and we one day learn, oh wait, we have the power to say, no, don't come in my space, or no, I don't want to respond and give back energy that you're trying to take from me and stuff like that. This is about being aware of what limits we put ahead of ourselves, as well as viewing certain things as the things that can affect us, that they can be changed, that we're actually more in control of our scenery than we're aware of. This isn't always the case. Sometimes things are just set in stone and that's the way it is. But the Eight of Swords is a positive omen for you, that right now you feel trapped and you feel consumed by this upcoming thing and this fear and this mentality we talked about over here. This also talks about there were a lot of conversations about money. I want you to take that note, because often when we talk about something a lot, we're kind of adding to that energy as well as even manifestation. So maybe you should just kind of be aware of, maybe stop doing that, stop having that mentality, talking about it all the time and giving it too much power. But either way, it implies that yes, we totally have a way you can change things. Now, this is where I got confused. So the Hermit card in reverse, the way it is a really positive omen that you're going to get out of what's going on over here in the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands implies that there's going to be some sort of conflict, confrontation. It's going to feel like a difficult evaluation and meeting. And it almost feels like you're worried about the opportunity that the two of you are going to clash, and it's going to put your position in jeopardy. But the Hermit card implies that you're actually going to come out of this situation on top. You will find your happiness after this, there's a lot of good things essentially coming your way after you come out of this situation. It's like this major change is what's marking a better tomorrow, and kind of the major change that ends all of this stress and this mentality and all this stuff that's been bringing you down. So that's the major change, is that is going to be going away. And that it's going to be found outside of the situation. But the Hermit card in reverse can also talk about the idea of when somebody is not properly taking in advice from somebody else. Like somebody else is trying to help you, they're giving you some wise words to live by, and you're just kind of blocking them out, or you don't want to hear what they have to say. And so I wanted to know, does that mean in the Five of Wands in reverse, you should avoid the conflict? Because that's what Five of Wands in reverse talks about. It talks about you wanting to just kind of dodge this altogether and just not show up or skip around that. Now that idea is pretty open-ended. That can imply you just prematurely quitting your job, but I don't see the Death card around here, so I don't think it's that. It's you making excuses. Either way, I was wondering, was this card implying you should avoid this conflict? This isn't worth going through. But in fact, you should. it's actually saying the opposite. It's saying that you want to do this, that you want to avoid this conflict. This is something you don't want to go through, but it's worth having the conversation. Now, where the kind of clashing of heads comes in is when we talk about, this is all about the discussion before the meeting. So it looks like your friend is coming to you and is saying, hey, listen to me. I need to have a frank discussion with you. I see you're hurting. I see that you're going through a tough time, but I need to kind of lay it out straight how I see it and be the objective, I don't want to say third party, I guess second party, to help pull you out of this mindset. I can see over here in the Seven of Swords just some honesty. It looks like they've been they've been kind of oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. If you hear my cat in the background, he doesn't meow, he growls very intensely, so please do not be alarmed if you hear these sounds. Anyways, the Seven of Swords implies that this other person, and I keep saying he, so I'm feeling like it is a man that's going to be approaching you, but it looks like he's been watching you for a while and has been wanting you to tell you this for a while. In the Nine of Pentacles over here, he's talking about like, hey, listen, I know that you've been working really hard and you're just really unhappy with what you've received in return. You feel like you've been putting in all this effort and it just feels like the more you work hard, the less you get in return. You feel like you're not being appreciated. Both of these cards imply the idea of feeling deprived of what you're owed. And you're kind of starting to hit a breaking point emotionally. And I see that you're going through that. But the Page of Pentacles is probably the hardest kind of information they're going to be telling you. It actually implies that while you think that you have been working really hard, because they are able to see the way you're doing things, again, objectively, they're implying that maybe you didn't go about approaching your work in the most well thought out, productive way, that maybe you might have acted more impulsively than you were aware of. There's a lot of unawareness for this. Again, it doesn't imply that your evaluation or any of this is going bad. This is more trying to be there as a friend and comfort you and get you out of this mindset in order to prepare you for this evaluation and meeting. And again, to break this chain, to make you suddenly aware, oh wait, I'm way more in control than I was aware of, to end this suffering. And again, when you end this mentality, then the King of Pentacles gets turned upright. This is somebody who's making tons of money, who feels very confident in what they can do hands-on and what they can receive from their hard work. We talk about you not feeling happy. That does change. That will change. But you're being told basically like, don't avoid this. Sit there and listen to this hard information. This is somebody who cares about you, who has your best interest in heart. And they have some genuinely good advice that's going to lift you out of this storm so you feel confident going into this meeting forward. Especially when I see the Hermit card, I can't help but wonder if this meeting is going to, I don't want to say erase, but something where you will have a more comfortable lifestyle at work. You know, sometimes there's better positions that make our work more fun and we feel we're a lot more at ease in the daily routine. It feels like you are going to get this more comfortable situation. So overall, it's going to get better. But don't avoid this. It is a good thing, even if it's a little harsh to hear initially. They have your best interests in heart. So, as we all do for one another. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I enjoyed giving it. Please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye! All right, I'll get ready for group number two. Let's find out what major changes are coming next. Let's look at your cards. We have the Death card upright. I absolutely love this card. The Empress upright. Another positive card. Two Pentacles in reverse. The Devil upright. And your last card is the Five of Cups in reverse. Oh. Okay. All right, all right, all right. I'm channeling my Matthew McConaughey for a second. So I can tell you in nearly every single card interaction, there implies a new beginning. But new beginnings are really cool. Just like the death card, it implies that the past or whatever is now will be left behind in order to start this like new fresh start. So this is what's so great. We have two wonderful simultaneous things going on for you. One, somebody's going to be leaving your life for good. And the other is, the only way I can imply it is it's like new year, new me. It's this very positive uplifting of confidence and self-assurance and just kind of like feeling yourself is the best way I can put it that you'll be going through this wonderful transformation. So let's first start talking about the Devil card. Over here, I can see with how it's been affecting you that this has been somebody who has really been bringing you down. This is somebody you almost feel like you're unable to leave. Sometimes, and now remember this is a general reading, so I'm trying to connect to a larger audience, but for many people when I get this card, this implies when people feel a very magnetic connection to them and they're just unable to leave them. They don't know why they just keep being drawn back. Another is because this person keeps bringing something out of you where you feel the need to respond and reciprocate, and then they keep tricking you into sticking around, and basically in so many terms you're stuck with them, you're imprisoned by them. Now I can see how they negatively affect you over here with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. This is when you start to become so overwhelmed by all the various things you've been taking on, especially this would be your regular daily activities, the things you're approaching, maybe work, whatever, and mistakes start to happen. Many times Two of Pentacles implies minor mistakes, and this is the type of small mistakes where over time it starts to mentally kind of crack away at your confidence. You start to slowly start noticing all these minor mishaps, and it gets to you, and it really brings you down. I can tell that they are the main reason that you are having these mistakes. It's not because you're overwhelmed or too busy. It is by their influence and what they're doing to you to kind of push you over the edge. When the Two of Pentacles is upright, it's implying that you're doing a good job, but if you add one more, pentacle to what you're juggling now, it could all fall apart. And then in the Two of Pentacles reverse, it's implying that it now is. He or she, this person, was the last pentacle. Their energy was the last pentacle that made everything kind of fall over. I can see over here in the Five of Cups in reverse, you've been kind of just dealing in general with this grief for a while and almost kind of hanging on to it in a way that's not healthy or beneficial for you. This is understandable. A lot of us get caught up in feeling down or maybe a loss of something, but this is the sort of grief they're putting you through, and they keep making you think you need to hang on to it. They keep surrounding you and reminding you to be aware of it. The idea of someone else being the influence here comes up again in the Death card. Now, you can see the little kitty is playing with maybe another little kitty's tail. It's very cute. But in traditional tarot spreads, there's usually a sort of fallen king over here. And that implies that somebody else has been kind of bothering you and trying to get in your way, and they are no longer going to be a problem anymore. I also want to point out the interesting part of the Empress being here, because the Death card does talk about somebody putting you down based on your looks and how you look. Maybe they're commenting about your weight or just the way your face looks. Either way, it's not nice, and it's all about physical beauty. And the Empress actually directly talks about physical beauty and you, well, that changing in a positive way. So we've got here where you're at, or what you're dealing with, but then we have all these positive changes going on. So the Death, and by the way, if you're asking, what do I do? What do I need to do? You don't need to do anything. This is just happening. The Death card implies it's going to naturally happen as is. You kind of can't do anything to mess this up or get in the way or speed it along. It's working itself out naturally. Think of the Death card, I like to think of it as like a snake shedding its skin. that takes a little bit of time. But it does happen, and it is inevitable. And you can literally think of I know this is a weird thought, but the skin as this other person or the other things you're letting go for good now. So again, we talk about the death card being a deep sense of like rebirth and personal growth and change. But continuing on from this wonderful sense of change we've been talking about is it leads to the Empress card. So you might say, well, what is that change from what to what? The Empress card is the new year, new me sort of mentality. This is somebody who is, it shows a positive sign that if this person has kind of messed up your perspective of love, that you overcome this, and then in the other version of yourself, you're able to connect with love, as you probably have now, but be able to not have that stifled or limited by this person's previous influence. You're able to love without any sort of conditions or like, if you do this for me, I'll love you this much, bartering system. You will be able to connect with this again and feel open enough to share this with other people. This implies that you will be going through a huge creative spell. Definitely pick up a piece of paper and express yourself, or go after projects you've been wanting for a while, because the Empress card also talks about abundance. This is great because this is the sort of abundance that in many tarot cards they imply, oh yes, the money or the thing that you want, it will come in this way and you can create it, and it's kind of like a limited. The Empress is like that on a much hyper heightened level, because abundance for her is money, just general success and popularity, more just general things, everything just generally growing and doing well around you. So this is like limitless abundance, and she doesn't really have to do anything to make it happen. She does work on her garden and she does create things with her hands, so I'm not saying don't do that, but it's kind of like again, we talk about the idea of like, you just can't do anything wrong or need to overthink it. It will all naturally happen without you even doing anything. This is like you hanging out, you spend the whole day watching Netflix, and then the next moment you get an email getting this huge opportunity that's going to earn you an extra bit of money or get you the recognition you deserve. You didn't even do anything. It's going to happen nonetheless. But the Empress card, and this is the biggest one I want to point out for you, that Spirit just keeps telling me how much this is subconsciously important to you, that there is this sense of being really proud of who you are on a physical level. This is like looking in the mirror and finally loving and liking the person you see back. This is, sorry, I'm just thinking of that new Mulan trailer that came out. This is about you feeling very comfortable in your own skin because you feel comfortable in your own skin. Not just based on what other people see you as. They can enjoy the way you look and you're happy to share that with them, but this is true inner happiness based on a physical, the way you look physically. So it's really beautiful. Like I said, all of this is going to be going behind, and you're just going to be kind of thriving afterwards. I can also see here that there is the letting go of this sort of grief that's been plaguing you for a little while. So if you're worried as you move forward, if any of this like sort of rough feeling is kind of happening, no, don't worry. And it is a little bit of a hint of the first step when moving forward. This does imply you should separate yourself from this person actively. It also shows that no matter what bad feelings you're going through now, you're going to need to just kind of keep moving forward, push through, and you'll notice as you start to move forward, the act of moving forward is what shakes off all of those emotions. Right now it feels like you're stuck in mud and you couldn't possibly take another step forward. But once you do, and you realize how easy the next step is, and then the next step is, trust me, it's the beginning of something very beautiful. So yeah, really wonderful major changes coming your way. If you enjoyed this reading as much as I did, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number three. Let's find out what major changes are coming next. Let's look at your cards. We have Three of Pentacles in reverse. The Tower upright, talk about major changes. The High Priestess in reverse. 10 of Pentacles upright. And the Hierophant upright. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I'm definitely going to need to pull a couple more cards for some of these because I need to make certain things clearer. But I'll tell you right off the bat the biggest situation I'm picking up. Now, this is a general reading, so I try to keep things general so that everybody can relate to them. However, the two major things I'm picking up are kind of weird, and I'll explain why in a second. So one thing I'm picking up is family. But this almost feels like people who are in a position where it deals with inheriting something. We can think of the old school mentality of somebody who is wealthy and they're inheriting a lot of money. But sometimes people who, it doesn't matter where you are at financially, everybody can be put into positions where they're told, like, listen, this is for the greater good of the family. Think of the where it will go in the future. And sometimes money is a discussion. Do you see what I'm saying? It can work for everybody. But we're also getting over here in the Three of Pentacles in reverse, a work-related position. This talks about you working with another group of people. This can be working on a select group, a project kind of thing. But it can also just talk about many of us work in jobs where we're working with a bunch of different people at the same time in order to make, complete the task. But it almost weirdly feels like both are related, as if like there's a family job situation going on and the two are related, or what you're doing in this work situation is going to affect your family. And you see what I'm saying? It's a little kind of, I don't come across that sort of situation very often. So let's pull a few more cards to best understand what's going on here. So let's see the High Priestess first. We've got the Seven of Wands in reverse. Three of Pentacles upright. Oh, okay, so that gives me some direct confirmation. I was wondering with the High Priestess if this was you or someone doing this to you. So now I know that. What else do I not understand? The Tower. Queen of Pentacles. Oh, Justice in reverse. Okay, so we have a bit of a karma situation going on. We'll get more into that in a second. I understand what's going on. And what else? I guess the Three of Pentacles, I still need some. Okay, Ace of Cups upright. And Six of Swords. Okay, this is really interesting. So this major change is something that you're kind of being tested in the moment of. I'm surprised we didn't get, well, we did get Justice. We didn't get Judgment. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is something that's going to pop up. It's inevitable. However, how you handle it and the way you want this situation to go is something that you can control. And it is very important that you work it to your favor. So let's go over here with the Three of Pentacles. This talks about, again, you working in some sort of a team, you're working together. Either way, it's not going great. There's a lot of disharmony. People are just, maybe you just don't click well together. Some people just don't speak each other's work or progress or process language. And it's not working out. Now I can see over here in the Seven of Wands, you're kind of burnt out at this point. You're tired, you've been fighting with them for a while, there's been some disagreements for some time, and you're just kind of done with it, understandably so. But this is where your tower situation comes in with the High Priestess. This is where your tower situation is. It's related and it's caused because of the Three of Pentacles, but this is what happens. The High Priestess in reverse implies that there is a time period when you will need to be speaking up for someone else in the team and maybe standing up for them. Maybe you just need to let maybe whoever's your higher up, let them know, hey, guess what? I don't, they actually did this, whatever it is. It's not directly implying anything about either standing up for them or pointing out something they did that was good. It's not clarifying it. Either way, you don't. And you kind of do it a little bit on purpose, kind of in a bit of a passive aggressive way. Kind of like you see an opportunity where maybe you should help out and you don't, and you do it a little bit on purpose because you're tired of them. You're tired of this situation. And to you, it's just not a big deal. Who cares? Your kind of emotions are drawn to a point of being so worn out. You're not aware you're unintentionally being a bit cruel. But this is where the tower situation is. When the Justice card pops up, this implies that your karma is being in focus. It is being paid attention to. It's happening. And this is kind of like a make or break moment of like, do you want to add some bad karma or do you want to add some good karma? This isn't always the case. Sometimes we have to go through time periods to learn from ourselves, and it's not adding up to anything other than a lesson we're going to learn and we can even make up for later. It's all working its way out. You're kind of being given a really serious moment of like being like, who are you going to be? I can see in the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, a lot of this is, again, inspired by money, and again feeling like you want a fair position, you want a better position. This building process, this thing that you guys are working on is going to lead to a better position for you, and they've been getting on your nerves and you'd like to have the better position. So by not standing up for them, you kind of in a subtle way are making yourself look better. Does that make sense? Because they're looking bad, and this is not going to be good for your karma. This is pretty bad. When this kind of thing pops up, don't do this to yourself. You are going to have a lot of other negative grief pop up later on, and you will be really mad at yourself that you could have prevented this. Now, this is what's really interesting. We're getting a bit of clear, concise from both Spirit and Tarot about what you guys need to do in order to change this situation for the better. And oh my goodness, there is a lot of good going on here. So both the Ten of Pentacles and the Hierophant upright talk about this idea of understanding the whole, the group as an entirety, and understanding how things can add up in the long run. So this is what I'm talking about, the weird relationship. It almost feels like if you work, maybe the people you're working with are your family members, and if you work well with them, it's going to add up positively for the long run to come, with the business benefiting multiple generations, longevity with money, lots of good things money oriented for you if you change your mentality. So this is asking yourself to be aware that what you do now is going to benefit you or hurt you in a longer standing situation. We're talking lifetimes. I know this is really serious, and I'm so sorry that this is so intense, but this is your moment. This is your moment to change this. This can benefit you. You can have a lot of things build off of this. It can work to understand this sort of lesson and this mentality, to understand how important things are right now and what they can equal in the long run. But with the Hierophant upright, it also talks about the idea that sometimes it's better to think within the box. Take a second. How would this normally work best for everyone? Should someone kind of be a leader? Should you give each person a sort of role within the group to create a form of organization so you guys can work better together? Again, when I'm saying this, I am feeling more of a work-related situation, but this could easily be, maybe you're working with some really close family members, and how can you guys benefit each other in this situation? I'm still picking up more of a work vibe, but still. But also, in addition to that, the other bit of advice you're being given over here is the Three of Pentacles in reverse and the Hierophant upright both imply that your skills are just not there yet. That's where some of the frustration's coming from. This can refer to everyone needing to up their skills, but you are directly being told that you're maybe not at the caliber you think that you're at. Not a big deal. You can just take some time to work a little harder, give yourself a second to grow, and maybe be a little honest with your peers and say, hey, can you just give me an extra moment to, maybe don't let them fully know that you need some more help, but that you need a second to perfect what you're doing. And that's okay. In time, you will gain that ability and skill, and then everything will run a lot smoother. But feel your partners are feeling frustrated with that lack of skill, and you are in turn feeling frustrated that you're not properly executing your point or what you're needing to improve upon, and you're somewhat aware of it and feel frustrated with it. Now, this is where it gets really cool. So I will tell you right off the bat, if you do stand up for this person or, point out, highlight the good things about them, this is a huge turning point that makes the group start to work together. You see that you have each other's backs and best interests and respect for one another as a whole. This is where the mentality of everybody working for one another starts to get set in for you. This turns your karma around, and this is what starts to set this longevity of positive karma. I'll be honest with you, this is like one of the best cards you can get for like really good money in the long run. So this is really positive. But I have something kind of cool to say over here. So the Six of Wands does talk about the mentality that this rough time period is rough right now, but you're going to get through it. There is an end in sight. It's taken a little while. It will take a little while, but it's going to get better. It's like a positive hope. But the Ace of Cups is kind of interesting. I mean, the Ace of Cups upright can refer to a new friend. Maybe you just make a really good friend, but this would be a really special friend. This would be the type of friend that has longevity. But I can't help but say this. I'm just going to be honest with you. With the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles here, this is like a potential romance. And a romance like the one type of romance. Somebody you could potentially marry, and if you would like to, start a family with. So as you fix this situation to benefit you, it looks like this is something that wins them over, and you start to get to know them. So all you have to do is take that small step, not allow your, extinguished emotions to prevent you from making or make you make a bad call. And then you get everything. You get good karma, you get money, you get a partner, you overcome all the situation, you learn a huge lesson. I mean, it's nothing but positivity. The Tower card is really interesting because a lot of people view it in a negative way, but the Tower just means a big radical shift is happening, a big old change that shakes up your daily life. And the Tower card can be negative or positive. And in this situation, you're given that option. And it's going to shake up your whole life when you meet someone you really care about that you spend the rest of your life with. It's going to shake up your life when you're able to take on this mentality. A lot of good things are coming out of this. So get excited. But I do want to stress intensely, be aware of this High Priestess moment, because this kind of feels like the moment to me where you might not even realize it's happening. It would be such a small moment. You see that somebody a boss comes in and goes, who did this? Your friend Pete did it, and you're just not saying anything. You're tired. It would be such a quick moment you'd overlook. Pay attention. Do not let this small moment become something bigger. But overall, a lot of positivity coming your way, and I'm really excited for you. I mean, this is not everything everybody wants. Anyways, I hope you have a lovely day. Please consider giving this video a like, comment, and subscribing. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what major changes are coming next. Let's look at your cards. We have Two of Swords in reverse, Justice in reverse. Oh, Two of Swords again upright. Okay, so that's very important. Six of Cups upright, and your last card is Three of Cups in reverse. Okay, I already know what this is about. But I think I want to pull just a few more cards for these two because I can tell that this is a situation based on a group of friends or maybe one close friend. I'm getting more of like a group of friends, but nonetheless, there is a choice that needs to be made here. It's almost implying whether you're going to stay with them or not. But keep in mind, it looks like there's a third option and you're kind of being warned that by not making any decision, you are still in fact making a decision. So you're going to need to make one. Now, let's just understand what's going on here because I just obviously want to make sure. The Hermit card in reverse. Okay, Spirit's telling me to pull another one. Oh, okay. Queen of Wands upright. That makes actually sense. And then... oh, yep. Six of Pentacles in reverse. Exactly what I thought. Okay. So, like I said, this is about a group of friends. Now, over here in the Hermit card in reverse, you can see over here, this refers to you once being in a time period of pretty intense isolation. You didn't really have anybody you could depend on. You didn't have anybody you could build and share memories with. And then you made this connection with these group of people. And it's just been the best. I can see how important it is to you in the Six of Cups upright. This talks about deep, fulfilling relationships. This is when it's very important for you to build this sort of connection. You get a lot of inner happiness and just bliss, sharing memories with them, telling them your deepest secrets, having these good times. This is what you look forward to when, you have available free time. You're like, I want to hang out with my group of friends. They mean so much to me. I'm especially being told right now by Spirit that this was exciting for you because you were in a time period where you wanted to go out and buy tickets to go to a concert or maybe a convention. And unfortunately, you just couldn't do that because you felt like you needed a group of friends. Now you can do that. That's super exciting for you. However, this is where the however comes in. In the Three of Cups in reverse, this is not, despite your feelings and your connection you feel you have with them, this group of friends is not the type of friends that is going to last. I often like to refer to these type of friendship groups that kind of die out every 6 months, and they tend to be the group leaving somebody else in the dust. They have shallow values. They get usually drawn to people who are very good-natured. They have a lot of light about them. So this is a compliment to you because you're someone new, special, and genuine. That's important to notice. Genuine in a way they are just not able to connect with. Now, the main reason why kind of it's lasting as long as it is again due to the Six of Cups. This is when you're kind of viewing things in a little bit of a hyper idyllic way than it really is. You're not fully seeing the situation. You're seeing it in more of a kind of rose-colored glasses perspective. Understandable. We've all been there. And honestly, this just shows your creativity. This shows your lovability and your just desire to want to see the best in other people. So please don't change. This isn't telling you to change. However, I am seeing here, again, the confirmation in the Six of Pentacles that it is a one-sided situation. You're just not going to get back what you're putting in. This even implies that you've spent money on them and maybe they say they're going to pay you back. They're not going to pay you back. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's always just going to kind of remain that way. So if you're hoping it's changing or if maybe you aren't even aware of it until right this moment that it's being pointed out, yeah, that's the sort of dynamic that's going on. Now, the Justice card in reverse kind of has a double sort of meaning. This does talk about the idea of things you putting in a certain amount of effort and you were hoping to get in an equal exchange back and you're just not getting that and it's frustrating. But the thing is, it can actually refer to the law. And not in a good way. And it can even refer to the idea of karma being in focus and such like that. Either way, these are kind of intense concepts we're talking about, right? So it looks like this sort of serious situation pops up involving them. And you have a choice whether to kind of go with them, defend them, or leave them and go, I have nothing to do with them. I don't know them. I don't want to have anything to do with them. Either way, they're being focused on of their, like, how do I put this? Either way, there is a position of a serious manner where people are looking at something that they've either done right or wrong, and you can decide to go with them or not. Now, I see a little bit of your confrontation going on here in, or conundrum you're feeling in the Two of Swords in reverse. This talks about you going, I don't want to make a decision. How about I just ignore this and it will go away? Fun fact, it won't. And in this particular case, you can't avoid it. You can't ignore it because when you're not making a decision, it's kind of, unfortunately, making a decision that's not going to work in your best favor. So you want to pay attention to the Two of Swords. Two of Swords says there is a choice. You have a choice and you can make it. It's overwhelming feeling, but you are in power of your destiny. Now, the Queen of Swords being underneath the Hermit card is pretty interesting. So it looks like in the Hermit card, this kind of continues with you wanting to avoid things. You're not trying to be difficult or make your life more difficult. You're just overwhelmed, understandably. This is when, in the Hermit card in reverse, when you do not listen to somebody's advice. And someone's offering it to you, and you should listen. Now, I can see you're not listening to them. I feel like with the Queen of Wands, this is someone you kind of are annoyed that they're always right. And it's a little bit of a, I can't hear it right now. This is serious. This is a sort of uncomfortable manner. I'm not ready to hear it. But you should. You're being advised to. The Queen of Wands suggests this person is a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, but this is a female. This is most likely an older female. She could be a female by just a few years, or it can be significantly older, like a mother or something like this. This doesn't imply it's a mother, so this still keeps it kind of open-ended, you see what I'm saying? But either way, those are some of your clues you can be looking for. And they have a bit of helpful advice for you to give. Now, I'll be honest with you, you are always welcome to decide whatever you want. I am an unbiased member. I just give you what's going on here and you can kind of decide from there. But I think it's kind of, how can I put this? Unspoken that you most likely should leave them. They didn't do a good thing. Don't get caught up in it. They're not even worth getting caught up in it when we can see how they view the world and your friendship and how they treat you. You should most likely step away from this. This is not your fight or problem. Do not let them get you sucked into it. But when I see this as a major change popping up in your life, this is still a good thing. This shows that you kind of got a little bit of a practice run with your wonderful mentality when it comes to friendships, and does show this isn't the last friend group you're ever going to meet. Not at all. Consider it wonderful practice, and you can still appreciate the happy memories you had with them. But definitely consider yourself being tested by the universe to know when you should probably separate from people. You shouldn't just stay with them because you're afraid of being once lonely. And also I want to point out that sometimes the universe, or spirit I might add, it depends, they have fun taking turns protecting you, can make things happen that seem scary or intense, but are usually for the better. And sometimes it's not always teaching you a lesson in a harsh way, but actually preventing something. So there is a little bit of a sprinkled lesson going on here about standing up for yourself, learning to be more decisive, as well as understanding and determining who's worth, sticking by, and so on and so forth. But sometimes the universe puts you in a position where they're literally trying to cut you off and say, do not hang out with them, they're not worth it. You will not like the future where this friendship goes. Get out of there. So take this as a positive omen and a positive severance that then opens you up for better friendships, better situations. And definitely heed the advice of this other person to be kind of the final tipping point. I do want to make the point of this before I finish this reading, that you can kind of you already know what to do. This is going to be pretty obvious. But this person's advice is the last kind of nugget of truth that enables you to say, you know what, you're right. Now I feel more confident about my decision. Plus, I will point out, with the Hermit being so close to the Queen of Wands, you might forge a deeper friendship with this very person, and this can kind of be the branching off point for you guys. Just something to think about. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this reading and look forward to this. I know this is a weird major change, but it is still a good one nonetheless. And it's always good to clean out the junk lying in our life, so to speak. If you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to give it a comment, like, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Either way, have a beautiful day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!